the human experience is often marked by uncertainty. We navigate our days through a fog of unknowns, where the path ahead is veiled. Storms can gather without warning, and the ground can feel unsteady. In these moments of disorientation, when we feel most adrift, we are invited to look beyond our own limited sight. Consider one of history's most enduring promises, offered in a time of darkness. It was spoken through the prophet Jeremiah, not to a people in comfort, but to the nation of Israel, languishing in exile. Captives in Babylon, their homes lost, their temple destroyed, their future seemed erased. Into this profound brokenness, God speaks a word of unwavering assurance. In the book of Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11, we read this divine declaration. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." This was not a casual wish. The Hebrew word for prosper is shalom, a term signifying not just wealth, but wholeness, safety, and profound peace. God's plans are never random, they are meticulously intentional. Imagine a master weaver creating a tapestry. From our vantage point, we see only tangled threads and chaos. But the weaver, from above, sees the breathtaking design he is bringing to completion. Even when we cannot see the whole picture, he sees the entire path. This is where faith finds its footing. Trust is the courageous act of releasing our grip on the need to understand every detail. It echoes the wisdom of Proverbs, to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. It is surrendering our limited perspective for His infinite one. But what of the threads of pain? The promise is not an exemption from hardship. Scripture reveals God is a master of redemption, weaving even painful events into His good purposes. Consider Joseph. Betrayed and sold into slavery, falsely accused and imprisoned, his life was a tapestry of injustice. It would be easy to believe he was forgotten. Yet these trials were the instruments God used to position him, shape his character, and ultimately save a nation from famine. Years later, facing the brothers who wronged him, Joseph declared, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." This is the heart of our hope. No pain is wasted in the hands of our Creator. It is often the very process that shapes us for our purpose. So when the path is shrouded in mist and your life seems tangled, hold fast to this promise. God's plans for you are active, intentional, and infused with redemptive power. They are plans for your ultimate shalom, your wholeness and peace, and a future saturated with hope. Keep this verse before you as we look deeper. God's plans are a reflection of His very heart, a heart that is for our flourishing. This is not a random universe, but one guided by a loving intelligence who desires our thriving. His goodness is the foundation upon which all His plans are built, a promise of life in its fullest measure. The path toward this promised life does not always appear comfortable. Like a seed breaking open in dark soil, our journeys often involve seasons of pressure. This discomfort is not abandonment, but a necessary part of the process. It is the forward momentum of growth, a powerful, unseen movement toward life. What appears to be a closed door is often not a punishment, but a profound act of divine redirection. From our limited view, it can feel like a final judgment. But in the economy of faith, a setback is often a period of preparation. In these moments, God is cultivating in us the character and wisdom needed for the greater things He has in store. This brings us to the essence of faith, hope. It is not wishful thinking, but a steadfast expectation rooted in God's unchanging promises. The Scriptures call it an anchor for the soul, firm and secure. This divine promise, that He is with us and working for our good, becomes the fuel for our endurance, the strength to keep going when the path is unclear. Remember the promise from Jeremiah, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." This journey is not a solitary one. We were designed for connection. His plan weaves our lives together, providing community for support and care. You are not meant to walk alone. We cultivate this trust through small, intentional acts of faith. Write your prayers, creating a record of your journey with God. By looking back, You train your eyes to notice where he has already moved. These small disciplines of remembrance are powerful acts that shape our hearts to trust the one who holds our future. To see this in action, consider Joseph. Sold into slavery, falsely accused and imprisoned, his life appeared to be a series of catastrophic harms. Yet, we see God's hand at work. The pit was a redirection. The prison was a preparation. Every hardship was shaping him for his ultimate purpose, to save a nation. His declaration, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good," is the ultimate testament to a sovereign plan that redeems painful circumstances. His story points us to God's plan at work. Consider the profound story of Joseph, a testament to divine orchestration. He was betrayed in the most cutting way imaginable by his own brothers. Consumed by jealousy, they cast him into a pit, a dark prelude to a life of separation. Sold into slavery, he was stripped of his identity and future, becoming a forgotten son in the vast, unforgiving landscape of Egypt. The dream God had given him seemed like a distant, mocking memory. His journey led him from a pit to a prison cell. For 13 long years, the walls of his confinement were his world. From our limited perspective, this appears as a tragic detour, a life wasted. Yet in the economy of heaven, this prison was not a punishment, but a potter's house. God was not abandoning Joseph, he was forging him. The darkness was a crucible, designed to purify his character and deepen his dependence on God. It was here that Joseph's character was refined. He learned humility and unwavering integrity, serving faithfully even when forgotten. He was honing the skills of administration and wisdom that God would soon use on a national scale. Then, in a moment only God could orchestrate, Joseph was summoned from the dungeon to the palace, positioned to lead a nation through a catastrophic famine. What his brothers intended for evil, God masterfully repurposed for good. As Joseph himself would later declare, it was all to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. The pain of his past became the instrument of salvation, not just for Egypt, but for his own family. This is the heart of our faith, a God who redeems our deepest wounds for his purposes. This is our great challenge, trusting God's timing. Our lives are often marked by long seasons of waiting where prayers seem unanswered. It feels uncertain, but God is never late. He is working when we cannot see it, weaving the threads of our joy and sorrow into a masterpiece. Trust means releasing our grip on the narrative and believing he guides the current. Find support in community as you wait. Faith is lived together. As we move forward, let's adopt these postures of a faithful heart. Surrender your will, seek his face, obey his voice. Start by surrendering control. Give God the map, not just the pencil. Prayer aligns our hearts with his. Seek God daily in his word. It reveals his character and direction. Record what he reveals. Watch patterns emerge. Obedience, even small, moves God's plan forward in your life. Faith is active, not just passive waiting. Surrender, seek, obey, and remember, your story is held by God. Jeremiah 29:11 stands. He knows the plans he has for you, plans for hope and a future. Let that truth give you peace today. Hold on to hope. Walk forward in faith.